The Cel Cast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cel Cast. Joining me today is a man who's, well, feeling a little gassy. Welcome, Jacob.
Oh, you had to bring that up. Oh, why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, a man who simply is just dabbling into a little Goomba smashing. Welcome, Drew.
Well, you know what they say. Something about mushrooms and not eating the wrong ones in the forest because they'll kill you. Actually, there weren't many Goombas in this one.
No, there weren't.
Just putting that out there. Actually, there were no Goombas in this.
Oh, okay.
There was some Koopa shells, but that's about it.
Well,
everything else was from Mario Brothers 2.
Okay, well, I feel...
Or Super Mario USA, however you want to look at it.
feel Yoshi.
It happens to the best of us.
Right.
How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing much better. Had to take Friday off, so if you guys who were planning to watch the stream live on Friday, I apologize. Wasn't feeling that well, and I just wanted to be at on my A game for the show, and just took the time to recruit. So thank you again. Had a wonderful time with my girlfriend last night. We did steaks and a dinner. It was fantastic. Nice. And I'll get into what we watched in the later segment.
Ooh, did y'all have a date movie?
Yes, we had a date movie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Maybe a little more unorthodox date movie, but it was...
as long as it's something y'all both enjoy, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
So you can make romance out of anything.
That is true.
Which explains the horror movies at the Walmart in the Valentine's booth.
Oh my gosh, yes. What was that? Nate posted that?
Nate posted that, but I have seen that also because our Walmart has that.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I understand like half of this. If any of you, like most of us gone to your local Walmart, wherever you live, you go to the
electronics department,
look at the movies, and they have this setup where it's Valentine's, and half of it's like romantic movies, a little Disney here and there, and the other half is horror films.
Well, there's about 5 of those horror films that actually do make sense as a Valentine's thing because they're Valentine's related or romance related. Like Warm Bodies, I know is a romance between a human girl and a zombie.
Yeah.
Something about that doesn't sound right.
No.
But and I think My Bloody Valentine was in there.
Yeah.
But some of those, like I think Friday the 13th was in there.
Yeah.
It's like, that's Halloween. That's not the only way that works as a Valentine's movie is when when one of the two of y'all, I was about to say the little girl, but I realized, no, I know plenty of little boys who'd be in the same situation. But when the more scaredy cat version, a member of the couple, jumps into the arms of the stronger version of the couple. I don't know what I'm saying. I just tripped and fell into that mud hole. Let's move on.
All right. So yeah, that was my week. Week was pretty good. Friday was kind of rough mentally for me because I was beating myself over stupid crap. But that's why I took the day off, or took the recording day off to record on Sunday, and which this should be out for
sometime this week for you guys. So I cleaned my apartment or tidied up more than anything, and that's been good. Sunday was great. Really good message, very convicting message from Dr. Mike. Thank you, Dr. Mike. And now we're here.
So how have you been, Drew?
I've been good. It's been a relatively slow, if not cold and wet week.
Oh, you're not kidding.
For the most part, it's been okay. Friday, I did not volunteer to go in for the extra hours, and did spend the afternoon on stream.
Nice.
Building my very first Gunpla.
Nice.
Which, for those of you who don't know what that is, the anime series Mobile Suit Gundam, Bandai, the company that makes all those, they make these little model kits that are snapped together that
that you can, build, and it's become a big hobby over in Japan and kind of over here too. And I will say, from everything I read, I will agree, it is very addicting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun to build that. I got the whole thing done here in about 3 hours. Those of you watching on the stream, it's right here next to Stitch's head. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to build. Probably going to do some more of that later, though not immediately.
Nice.
But yeah, I enjoyed doing that. I recorded the last 2 Henshin Men episodes I'm on or co-hosting on yesterday, so that was fun. But other than that, that's pretty much my week.
Cool.
So Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
More accurately, what date movie did you and Ashley watch?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, first I start be like, I love like finding random stuff on YouTube. So I found two channels I've kind of fallen in love with. One is Part-Time Explorers or Part-Time Explorer on YouTube. It's a guy who he goes and explores like shipwrecks and abandoned cities and abandoned towns, like all over the country and Canada and the whole bit. So I find that really fascinating because it gives you a lot of like history that you probably would never hear about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fascinating. Another one kind of fancies my former toy collecting kind of bone.
Former toy collecting bone?
Kind of. Let's go there.
I was about to say, did somebody suggest you not be in that particular hobby anymore?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm just verifying. I was unaware of the transition from toy collector to former toy collector.
I wouldn't say former, but it's just more, I've slowed it down tremendously.
Okay. Now that is fair.
Yeah,
that is
tremendously.
very fair.
Very, very tremendous. OK Geek, he's a toy collector and vendor from Florida, and so I found his channel just randomly, and I was like, this guy's actually kind of funny. He kind of looks like my cousin Brian, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy his content. So yeah, I started following those guys. Movies or documentaries we watched on, me and Ashley watched on our date last night. One is American Murder, the Family Next Door, which is based off the I forgot the actual case. It's a murder of a wife and their two daughters, like really young daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fascinating because I had never heard of this case.
Right.
Never heard of it. So Ashley's sitting there.
This is the one Ashley was talking about y'all watching before Sunday school this morning, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Where you really said, I'm fairly certain he didn't do it. And she's
said, like,
yeah, he did.
It's like, spoiler alert,
he did it.
It's like, hey. But yeah, it's really fascinating. Be like, if you like true crime, be like, yeah, go watch it. It's really good. And so the movie so here's the setup. So we decided we wanted to do a date night,
right?
Or just because it was
it's Saturday.
It's Saturday. That's but it's about the only day we get because she works where she works and I live here.
There is a good hour and a half distance from where you work versus where she works.
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, hour and a half depending on traffic.
That is true. So I was thinking where she lived, but never mind.
I was thinking where she works.
Yes, exactly. There
because
you go.
Both of y'all don't need to be taking the drive to meet the middle, for being honest.
Yeah, that is true.
On the weekday.
So we decided to go
in this weather.
True. So we decided to let's do steaks, and so we cooked some very good steaks. She marinated herself, and it was like, that was very nice of her. She brought broccoli for herself. I don't like broccoli, so I made myself a mashed potato. And that's
I need to introduce you to broccoli and cheese. As in, drench the broccoli with cheese so that all of the health you would get out of the broccoli is negated. Cheese Whiz is your friend. Or maybe not Cheese Whiz. You might not
maybe
be
not Cheese Whiz.
But queso, maybe?
Maybe.
Queso's easy to make.
That is true. That is so true. So
just, fondue your broccoli. That's all I'm suggesting.
Fondue your broccoli. So we both picked two films, two films that is like, what movie do you want to watch, and something maybe you haven't watched a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked what was that first one? I picked the movie Frequency from 2000,
Okay.
and another one with Dennis Quaid in it, which they both had Dennis Quaid in it. And so she picked one, and the second one was Frequency. So we just want to watch
Yeah, you might as well just watch Frequency at that point.
Yes. And that is one of my favorite films from the early 2000s. The scene that cracks me up, I'm not gonna spoil the film, but there's a point where the father is writing on a desk and it say, "I'm still here, Chief."
Mm-hmm.
And that broke me beyond belief, because I'm not gonna spoil the film. Go watch it. You can go stream it like anywhere. Like you can go rent it. You can go rent it most places. It's not available streaming anywhere, but you can go. You can rent it, because this is just a little diamond in the rough kind of film. It's so good because if you're watching the movie carefully, you can tell what's going on. But it is so well done. Highly recommend it. Have you seen this film?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's good. It's got Dennis Quaid, Jim Caviezel, and a handful of really, really good actors. And it's just one of those little gems that it's about. It's got sci-fi murder mystery intrigue kind of film. And I really enjoyed that film. And I just wanted to watch the film again. So that's
Fair
what we watched Frequency. So hold on. Let's see. What was I listening to?
Besides me.
Besides this lughead. So I listened to the first when you relaunched the podcast.
Right. On its own feed. So if those of you who have been wondering why I haven't been doing Untangling Kingdom Hearts in the main feed, it's because it's in its own feed, and I didn't want to, bloat our podcast feed with my little side project.
Mm.
In fact, I'm still intending to go back and delete the old episodes out of our thing, but I hadn't done that yet.
So obviously it's the Cel Cast presents Untangling Kingdom Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I listen to podcasts or audiobooks on half speed or half-time speed, where I can be like, you can get through it faster and you gain more information faster. So listening to him talk at half speed is actually kind of cool. It's just okay, that's gonna go.
As long as you're following what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Out of curiosity, because of the way I'm setting this up now, which episode are you up to?
I just finished the last one you put out.
Okay, so you have listened to the episodes where I am spoiling stuff.
Yes.
Later on in the franchise.
Yes.
But I wait till after the credits.
Yes, you do,
so
which I thought was very creative.
So that people who did not want to hear it could just like go elsewhere. Okay, so I'm just curious, have you been listening to the spoilers, or
I've listened to the spoilers?
Okay, what are your thoughts on what I've said so far? Does any of that make sense?
It makes sense. Now, granted,
even when even when I say stuff, it's like, oh, there's 100 different things that I haven't touched on. That even in the spoiler section, I'm just bringing up like it's nothing.
Well, between you and my brother Daniel, because Daniel loved Kingdom Hearts when it first came out,
right,
and you'd be like, you just like love it to death, and you'd be like, and there again, we do have an entire section where it's Kingdom Heart connections, and so
which we'll get back to come Frozen 2.
Yeah,
because I'll get to say everybody again on Frozen 2.
So yeah, be like, yeah, if you want to listen to a good dissection of Kingdom Hearts, go check out that podcast.
I am trying to give as much information in there as I can, but still being entertaining.
Yeah, it's not overloaded. It's not overload with be like, oh, this character who pops up, but no, they pop up actually here. It's actually very well done.
I appreciate that.
All right, so
this is why I am writing a script, so I'm not going off on a tangent halfway through a sentence.
Fair.
I've gone off on the tangent 3 or 4 times just a week ago while I was typing the script, and then had to get back to where I was.
Chase that Kingdom Rabbit back to where I was.
Chase Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh, yes.
So I'm listening to Oswald, that makes it better. So I'm listening to Tom Clancy's The Hunt for Red October on Audible. I'm almost finished with it. It's a really, really good book. Granted, like I said,
I think it's better than the movie myself, but that's just opinion.
That's true, but also Jack Ryan does appear like he's
in the movie.
He's more in the movie, I agree. But I think it'd be like his presence is very much there in the book. It's just more they're having to go through like
he's just not like on screen in essence in the book for half of it.
I agree.
Fun fact: the nanny he has there at the beginning, that's the same actress who plays Dr. Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I remember that. Yeah.
Fun fact: that movie is why she's not in the second season, and they had to replace Dr. Crusher for that whole season.
Oh,
because she was trying to get into the movie business. This was the one movie she got. They thought she was getting a bigger role, and she didn't.
Oh,
she's like barely in the movie.
Yeah.
And so she came back to the show because she was at least getting more screen time there.
True.
Even if she was playing the mother of Will Wheaton. Anyway. And would later go on to have a weird episode with a Irish ghost on a planet that she was falling in love with somehow. That was a weird episode. Sub Rose is a weird episode. But we're not here to talk about Star Trek. Continue.
No, we're not. So that's all I've been listening to and watched. I want to also give a bit enormous shout out to it's a Instagram page. It's a young friend of mine. Just wanted to plug his Instagram real fast. Life.of.j or CJ Crook, as in CROC. This is a little guy that I've known from church, and just want to give his little Instagram a little shout out. If you want to watch just a really cool little guy just do goofy little things, be like, go check his little Instagram out.
All right. Since you are going ahead and giving your shout out, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out of my own.
Okay.
Because the co-host on my old show that didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Yeah.
He has gotten back with someone he works with to make a show, and they have just recently, used that old Facebook page, which is how I found out about it.
Oh, okay.
And we're using my artwork for a short bit, which I gave him full reign to do, so I didn't care. The artwork I made for that channel. But the Comic Capital is the name of the podcast where they're reviewing comic books.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, go check them out because I'm fairly certain it's going to be a pretty good show. I haven't had a chance to listen to an episode yet, but yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, what I have been watching, Mobile Fighter G Gundam.
Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Okay.
Yes. That is the Gundam show that got me into Gundam. Basically, because it was, let's face it, this is Dragon Ball Z, but with giant robots. But deeper story.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I was watching a couple episodes of that before we got ready with the show. Enjoying the fool out of that. Also, I have watched a couple episodes. I watched the first episode of a certain anime that we have brought up the last 2 episodes.
I wonder what that is. Trigun
Stampede.
Oh, really?
Me and our good friend Chase watched the first episode subtitled.
Okay.
Last weekend on Sunday.
Yeah.
This is not Trigun. It's Trigun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They are making a lot of changes.
Oh, okay.
And some of them are going to take some getting used to and seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
Before I'm fully into it. But I'll put it to you this way. Every mysterious thing that the first anime did, they give away in the first episode.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
If not the first 5 minutes. It starts in space.
Oh, so
with little Vash and little Nye, not Knives yet, because he's not Knives till he goes nuts.
Oh,
he's just Nye right now.
Oh,
escape the during when the explosion that caused them all to crash land on Planet Gunsmoke, I think is the name of it.
Gunsmoke, yeah.
It starts there.
Wow.
So like all the mystery about who is Vash. Is this weirdo in the red trench coat in the middle of the desert actually this Vash the Stampede everyone's saying about? You know it from the beginning. They're showing off every little thing that they took their time to show us in the old show. They're just going off and showing it. Well, it's like, hey, which makes me wonder: A, are you telling? Obviously, you're going to be telling a different story. This is not intended to be a remake.
Mm.
It's just a reboot that you're focusing on a different story, which is fine.
Yeah.
Except there's a lot of stuff I'm just going in on. It's like, I'm going to wait for an English dub and see if maybe that works a little bit better. I don't know. Because that first episode, it was just a little Plus, this is using the 3D animation, which, as you know, with anime is a little tricky.
Yeah.
It's a little crunch. It doesn't work all the time. And for some reason, the animation, between the animation and the characterization, they made Meryl look like she was made out of rubber hose. She moves like that. She's playing this cutesy little girl.
Oh.
Which is not Meryl.
No, it's not Meryl.
It's not Meryl at all. She's short, but she's cute because she gets angry.
Yeah.
In the
You
original.
don't like it when she's angry.
Right. She's one of those people who's cute when she's angry in the original, but now she's just being cute because she's cutesy anime girl who's going to be a journalist. Wait, I thought you worked for the insurance. No, I'm a journalist. I hate you already. And then the other guy, the Roberto De Niro, that you had a hard time pronouncing his name last week for some reason. He's just the serious guy who is serious for the sake of being serious. And I know this is first episode, so they can't go into as much story, as much characterization on these people as I want. And sure, different creative team who are doing something different. And yes, but here's the problem. Trigun is a manga. It's based on a manga. You're not adapting the manga, at least not directly. You are doing a very loose adaptation. It could be good. Since I've already shown Knives Goes Crazy, I'm already thinking,
where
are you going now? Because you just spoiled everything from the first show. What is left? The only thing they really haven't shown is that he's half plant. Spoilers for the original Trigun. I should have said that a lot earlier.
Womp, 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 womp.
But so yeah, we watched that. We watched some more of that earning 80,000 gold coins in another world to save for my retirement because we needed a palate cleanser. Because that was at least fun.
Well, why don't you just go back and watch the original Trigun then?
We might. I don't know. I am curious to see what JYB does with this version of Vash, because it is almost a different character.
Yeah, which is
the original,
which is already debuted the 21st on Crunchyroll.
I hadn't had a chance to look at it yet, but I hope he does a better job than what they were doing over in I hope he can save it. I'll put it that way. I hope he can save what they're doing. But I suspect they're going to be trying to change too much, and it's not going to tell the story I want to see. But besides the point, we don't even get to see his comedy that much. That's what's sad, because Vash is supposed to be a little crazy.
Yeah,
we don't get to see much of the crazy.
Not as donut loving,
There's
antics.
No donuts in this episode.
Okay.
The black cat that was an Easter egg in every episode of the old show.
Yeah,
didn't appear.
Okay.
They took the author's insert character out.
Okay. So this is the first episode, right?
Yes. Now, like I said, they could change stuff.
Yes.
I am willing to give this 3 episodes for them to show, give me a better taste of what they're doing. Because I'm assuming this is like what, a 12 episode show, I think, probably.
Maybe.
Or at least it'll start off that way. So they've got to be getting to plot soon. But right now, I just don't really like any of the characters. And admittedly, some of that's because I'm comparing it to the old characters.
Right.
But
that's kind of hard. That's a really hard. Like, it's like watching Velma, because the way.
Except Velma does. I will say Trigun Stampede is at least somewhat trying to pay respect to the older versions, to the manga.
Right.
Or at least Velma was just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we subvert everything about these characters? And point at it, go, "Look, aren't we being funny? Oh, Shaggy says is not high. He would never do drugs. Isn't that funny?" That's what they're doing.
I know.
That's what they're doing.
I know.
We talked about this last week.
We did.
Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on. Other than that, of course, I watched 4 episodes of Kamen Rider to prepare for the recordings we did yesterday.
On what show?
Kamen Rider.
It's just called Kamen Rider.
Oh, Henshin Men is the podcast
Thank you.
I was on. I said that earlier. Sorry.
You did.
But the show we watched was Kamen Rider, which cactuses is all I'm going to say.
Ow.
Also, I think 3 of those titles of the episode titles lied
Okay.
directly to us, because one of them was like, "We're going to tell you who the great leader of Shocker is." They didn't. Second one, "Is Takeshi turning into a cactus monster?" He's not. Okay, technically the third one I was thinking of, he was unable to transform until next episode, probably. Now, what would you say is the biggest thing, biggest tactic they say everyone says the villain teams always never do in Power Rangers? What does everyone say the villains should do to how should they attack the Power Rangers? Specifically when?
Attack them when their Megazords are forming.
How about when they're morphing?
That is true too.
Yeah. Guess what? This second to last episode is actually answering the questions like, why do they not attack Kamen Rider when he's transforming? It's like, that's because they never thought of it. There's a half-second gap where when he transforms, he's completely weak to attack. And so they freeze him in that half second between Hongo and Kamen Rider.
That's hilarious.
And are then going to force him to watch as they drain the blood of all his teammates to revive the evil Shocker monsters that he's already defeated before. And that was the cliffhanger.
Wow. Wow.
This was the cliffhanger Nathan gave me. Which is why I'm going to have to watch that last episode, and I am going to record my thoughts for them to play on that show.
Nice.
But yeah, that's Kamen Rider is a wacky show.
I can tell.
It's a fun show. It's trying to be horror. Trying?
Hit the word.
Yeah, the word. In the same way that Turbo was trying to be serious. Power Rangers Turbo.
Wow.
But it's still a good show.
Okay.
I'm actually looking forward to Shin Kamen Rider, which is the adaptation that Hideki Anno, who made your favorite Evangelion show,
right,
plus made Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman.
Yeah,
it's his adaptation of it, which is an adaptation of this season. So I'm actually curious to see what he's going to do with this, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like, we don't know where we're going while we're writing this. We're making these plot points up as we go along. Especially at one point when the real life accident of the main actor caused him to be hospitalized and couldn't be on the show for 6 months.
Oh,
and they had to get another person. They had to make another character to be Kamen Rider.
All right.
And then they never remember, oh yeah, this other guy when Hongo came back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this other guy exists. Or is he? Oh, he's over in America fighting more Shocker monsters. Can't he come over? No. We're gonna not talk about him till it's special time to bring him up. It's like, bring Hayato back, you idiots. This should be both Kamen Riders fighting Shocker all the time.
Anyways. Is that everything?
That's pretty much everything. The only other thing is I have been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because I'm replaying that.
Okay.
I am doing my best to try and complete every side quest, do every shrine, and before I finish the game, because I want to see how much I can 100% it before Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel, comes out.
Okay.
I am not going for all 900 Korok seeds. I'm sorry. There are limits. I'm just going far enough to get maximum inventory.
I gotcha.
Especially since half these stupid Koroks are in weird places.
All right. So interesting story, because he talked about Nathan over on Henshin Man, also
And
on
Monster Island Film Vault, and on the Power Trip.
Yeah.
Which the Power Trip's probably more apropos for what we're about to talk about.
What you're about to talk about. Yeah, what I'm about to talk about. So we went to a local GameStop. We had to go somewhere, and it's like, hey, can we stop here? Sure.
It was Game Exchange.
Game Exchange.
On the way back from the singles bowling trip last Saturday.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
I won both. Yay. So we stop in there. I'm looking for a part for my old PS3. And just looking around, be like, oh, they have movie posters. And looking around, like he finds a poster he wants. He's like, yay, I find a poster island. So, oh my gosh, yes, I'm gonna take this in a second. And then I stumble across they had
tons of Power Rangers 2017 posters.
And we be like, I kept thinking, it's like, didn't Nathan like this movie? It's like, yes, he does. For some reason, he really enjoys this movie. And I just casually messaged him and is like, hey, what was your favorite character on this movie? And he says the Black Ranger. It's like, okay,
the Blue Ranger.
I'm sorry, Blue Ranger.
Just because it was an African American actor.
That's not what I meant. The Blue Ranger.
Admittedly, that's what Saban did back in the day. They made the Black Ranger African American.
Yes, me like it's just either
anyway.
Jeez. So I asked him the question. He's like, yes, Billy's my favorite character. So we sent him 2 posters. Or Drew sent the posters, and
I had an extra tube.
Yeah, an extra tube. So be like, he got it. He did a reel for it. No, he did a
TikTok.
He did a TikTok for it. So go look that up. Monster Island Film Vault, I think it is.
Yeah, MIFV. Just search MIFV.
Yeah, on TikTok you can find it. Like, it's quite hilarious. Apparently FedEx kind of crushed the box, crushed the tube,
or one end of the tube anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of a fun little thing we did on, I think that was last Saturday.
Yeah,
last Saturday. Yeah. So yeah.
So Jacob, what do we have in the news?
The Cel Cast news with your host Jacob Heron.
Thank you, D-Lit. And what we have in the news is nothing really significant. I know there was an article that came out with the who would have directed Scoob Holiday Haunt, and what
technically he did direct it.
Well, he did direct it. Yeah, it was in post production, and when they pulled it,
yeah,
and they talk about that Batgirl, which was already in post production when HBO Max, Warner Discovery decided to pull everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was interesting. Other than that, not really much of anything really. News wise, unless you have anything else, I'm kind of stumped.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
So let's go ahead and get into our spoiler-free thoughts on parts 3 and 4 of Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
So once again, I saw this about 20 years ago on school computers when I was supposed to be doing other work. And statute of limitations is long past.
Yes.
Those computers don't even exist anymore, probably.
Probably not.
This was actually the last one I think came out my senior year. And I didn't even know he was doing them until he was continuing until I happened to go across Newgrounds and I saw, part 3 is coming. That must mean, and then I watched that and go, okay, obviously there's going to be a part 4. Because I remember seeing part 3 come out and go, where could they go after part 2? And I was like, oh, that's where you go. That's an interesting take. This one, believe it or not, is not as bloody as the first 2.
Agreed.
But it is a lot gassier.
Yes, it is very much more gassier. Oh my god.
We went from being bloody and bloody to being childlike. Very, I mean, I guess it's immature in both senses.
Yes,
in both of them, but definitely we went a lot gassier, but
Mhm.
I actually think these are animated better.
Yeah, they are much better.
But yeah, and it's still amazing that this was being produced in Flash, which at the time you have to remember it was just commands and
Mhm.
artwork that it sent to your computer that the browser then animated on the fly.
Mm.
You have to remember that's the difference. It's not
Yeah.
like YouTube where there are frames of this everywhere. It's saving the individual frames and just showing one picture after another. This was being animated live on your computer
Mm.
while it was playing. And I remember watching it and going, this is amazing. Especially the lead up into the fight with Mouser, the mouse he fights there at the beginning.
Right.
Which is obviously a play off of the Spider-Man 2 teaser from that time period.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was it's fun, and yeah, go take a look at it. The links this will be in the description, by the way, in the show notes.
Yeah. Like I said before, I had possibly heard of these years and years ago, never watched them, or I may have gotten a glimpse of them and like, okay, it's interesting. So I watched watching this for the review, and the second one was, dare I say it, better than the first.
Yeah. By that he means parts 3 and 4.
Yeah, parts 3 and 4. That's what I mean. But overall, I enjoyed this. It had a far more reaching story and has a little more depth and character to it as a story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, this is built in Flash. And I was like, that is impressive.
Yeah.
And definitely how they do with, little things here and there. But overall, it's really good. So yeah, recommend it. Yes.
And just to put it in more perspective, the process I was describing was sometimes called tweening because it was actually the program did the in-between frames.
Yeah.
Most animation done in Flash after this point was done like traditional animation where you drew each individual frame. This one was drawing those frames, the frames between the keyframes on the fly.
Oh, okay.
Just to put that in perspective. Other than that, you want to go ahead and jump into the intermission so we can get spoiling of this?
Yes.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They are not just a podcast. They are an entire network of shows, podcasts, and YouTube videos that are designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional. There is their podcast, Com Talk. There's another podcast where they read books, allegedly. There's also another podcast where they look through the Gundam Watch. And if you like movies, just like we do, you can check out them reviewing bad movies over at the bottom shelf. So you can find all their content and more at geekdevotions.com.
The Cel Cast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Ruiz, Book of Gaming.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cel Cast, plus reviews and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
I almost forgot Paul, sorry. The following is a spoiler-filled review for Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom, Parts 3 and 4. Listener discretion is advised.
Mario!
Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom, Parts 3 and 4 were written, directed, and animated by Randy Solom. Getting into the cast, once again, no actual lines were recorded for this particular short, but it did use all of the sound effects from the games. So because of that, Mario, Luigi, and Wart
Mm-hmm.
were voiced by Charles Martinet,
Mm-hmm.
with Yoshi being voiced by Kazumi Totaka.
Yeah.
Getting in. What's our info and stuff?
Info and stuff.
Not much different from last
No,
week.
there's not. There's no IMDb score. You can watch it on YouTube, originally on Newgrounds. Produced by Randy Solom. Thank you. Yeah. Distribution on YouTube, originally from Newgrounds. Released on September 6, 2003. Remastered version was September 14th, 2019. That's all I have for info and stuff.
See, my trivia shows slightly different. It says part 3 was on
That's
August 4th,
That's
2004,
right.
and part 4 actually was on March 14th, 2005, which technically means I would have been in college when it came out. So yeah,
Okay.
there shows you my memory. And then the
gotcha.
remastered version came out on August 14th, 2019.
Yes.
But getting into the summary, parts 1 and 2 of Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom were all a dream. A prophetic dream that Luigi was having. As Luigi realizes everything he just saw was about to happen, he races to save Mario. But in saving Mario, he ended up sacrificing himself, to which Mario then himself goes on a revenge-filled killing spree to the island nation of Subcon, which is technically also in a dream space somehow. To fight
within a dream.
The Inception is what this is.
Yes.
To fight the evil that is Wart, a frog monster kind of guy.
Yeah.
AKA the villain of Super Mario Brothers 2. Anyway, getting into the trivia. This uses sprites and special effects from the Super Mario All-Stars versions of Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, and Super Mario Brothers 3, along with Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, and along with some sound effects that appeared in Super Mario Advance, which was itself a remake of Super Mario Brothers 2. Along with the music from Super Mario Brothers, we also had the song Lacrimosa by Mozart, but specifically this is used because of the Spider-Man 2 trailer. The Black Gates Open by Howard Shore from Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Clubbed to Death, Kuriyamino Variation by Rob Dugan from The Matrix 3. Rise of the Matrix, Return of the Matrix?
I don't remember.
Matrix 3, that's all I'm saying. And then PM's Love Song by Craig Armstrong from the movie Love Actually. The Tombstones reference major Flash animators in the Newgrounds community, including Robert E. Four and Kranzing Studio and Kuhn. There is a strangely prophetic thing, though, that happens in this particular video. Mario using his hat as a weapon is strangely prophetic of Super Mario Odyssey, a game that came out in 2016, I believe.
Yes.
Also, Mario breakdancing to distract his enemy. This is a little bit of a wider thing, but as we know, in the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie, Mario is going to be played by Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Who in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 distracted Ronan the Executioner by breakdancing. Oh, how weird life can be sometimes.
Yes.
The fight against the crab it references the original Donkey Kong arcade game.
Okay.
And then I thought I'd go into a little bit of history on the character of Wart.
Okay.
Because I'm fairly certain most people don't really know who Wart is. You included, I assume.
No clue.
Okay. Wart was originally created for the game Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which translates into English as Dream Factory Heart Pounding Panic. In that game, he was known as Mamu and had taken over the dream world of Mu. When that game, when the original Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was rejected by Nintendo of America for being a slightly altered but with higher difficulty version of the original Super Mario Brothers, Doki Doki Panic was reskinned to use Super Mario elements, and they renamed Mamu to Wart. Wart, though using that name of Mamu, also appears in The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening as an ally to Link, teaching him the Frog's Song of Soul on his ocarina.
Interesting.
Link's Awakening, though, did use a ton of assets from the Mario franchise because of its dreamlike qualities. Dreams are coming up a lot in this, I'm noting.
Oh my gosh.
But that's all I got for trivia. What's your first like for this?
My first like, it's a far deeper story than the first one, because the first one was more revenge, and you get this dream be like, and like first watching be like, it was really a dream, or he just kind of like he saw the future, and he's like he tries to prevent his brother from being bombed.
Yes. Oh, bullet build.
But I enjoyed it. It's got this they're gonna be like, it's Mario going on his revenge quest, and then it turns into Princess Peach. Am I saying it right? Is it Peach?
We think of her as Princess Peach, yes.
Yeah.
Technically, at the time, no, even at this time, because Super Mario 64 was definitely out by this point. So yeah, we would have known her as Princess Peach Toadstool at the time.
Yeah. So Princess Peach goes on this quest to find something that turns out to be like it's a resurrection thing to bring back Luigi.
Of course, it's the one-up mushroom.
The what?
The one-up mushroom.
Oh, one-up mushroom. That's right.
The green one that gives you extra lives.
Yeah.
For some reason, being kept in a Bowser cemetery,
which I found hilarious. It was like, okay, this is interesting because they're playing in like little cues here and there. Like the story building is very well done in this movie, or this short, or this pixel short. Overall, I really enjoyed the story, and it's be like, okay, I'm really intrigued. I'm hooked. And it's like, and by the end of it, it's like, okay, the brothers are united. The Mushroom Kingdom is saved, and it's nowhere near as bloody as the first one, but it's still incredibly well done.
Yeah.
So that's my first like.
My first like are all of the little references to Mario's stuff throughout the entire thing. For instance, like I said, the crab fight being a reference to the original Donkey Kong arcade game.
Yep.
All the little things about that are different about Super Mario Brothers 2 having to be used in full here. All those little things I actually enjoyed. When he's going down into the temple to go fight this wart the second time, you can see on the back pillars, along with a sprite of the original Donkey Kong on the pillars and the hieroglyphs, there's also a hieroglyph of one of the viruses from the Dr. Mario game.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's the red one, but do not quote me because it was just an outline, But yeah, all those little things, if you're looking in the background, I really did appreciate. So yeah, that's my first like. What's your second?
My second like would be the continuing quest of revenge.
Yes, revenge.
Revenge is always, kind of a
dish best served with vegetables, apparently. I used revenge as a dish best served cold on the last episode.
I agreed. But
now it's just best served with vegetables.
All right. So my second like of this film is that it definitely goes into the same vein of revenge, and it's be like there again, the roles are reversed, and that Luigi sacrificed himself, and then Mario, like in the previous one, goes off to revenge to revenge upon his brother against Wart. Okay, against a frog who wasn't Bowser.
No, he's not Bowser.
No,
Bowser wasn't even in this.
No, he wasn't. He got munched on by some.
No, he's still alive.
That's right. He is, because there's a dream sequence.
He only died in the dream sequence.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Well, never mind. It'd be like I just keep thinking like, ow, wow. Yoshi. Oh man, but yeah, the plot of revenge is so thick with the radishes, not even funny. And I enjoy that for the revenge type. Definitely when you're kind of you're playing this very nice homage, but playing it really twisted and dark and like using a lot of dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy that. I really enjoyed how they ended it with how Luigi comes back after Princess Peach resurrected him and her little adventure with Yoshi.
Right.
That was fun. Overall, I really enjoyed this little short, and yeah, that's my second like.
My second like for this
Mm-hmm.
is all of the original sprites he made for this.
Agreed.
The first two, he didn't do that many original sprites. It was very light in sprite work.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly it was just modifying other sprites to, make the Yoshis look like murderers.
Right.
Among other things.
Right.
But in this one, though, we've got a ton of new sprite work because, yeah, he didn't have as much to pull from fighting Wart as he did fighting Bowser.
That is true.
He had, so like nearly everything in there. There is one sprite of Wart I am not a fan of, and I will talk about it later. But the whole thing there, especially with the fight at the end where Mario catches Wart's tongue and then spins him around.
Oh my gosh.
This is like, okay, I know that wasn't from the game, but that looks awesome.
Yes, agreed.
But yeah, this whole thing is just excellent.
Agreed.
Yeah, I really did like a lot of the original sprite artwork. Not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Get to that in a minute. But anyway, what's your third like, if you have one?
I don't have a third like.
All right. Honestly, I don't either because I think we both forgot we needed 3.
Yeah.
Remember, the next movie we actually record, we need 3.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, first dislike then.
Okay.
Your first dislike.
Okay, my first is like, okay, throw me that mushroom. My first dislike of this film, I really don't have one. It's so well done. I understand. There's some animation errors, like that's like common.
Yeah, but that's minor in reality.
Yeah,
I'll admit you there.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to rack my brain with some kind of default in this little short, and I just can't think of any.
Well, then I'll just hit my one really.
Okay.
I don't like the back sprite of Wart with his butt showing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I two reasons. One, it's there just to be a stupid joke.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it doesn't make a lot of sense why someone would have a piece of clothing with a butthole on it. That's just a cape, I should say, with a hole for the butt. Granted, it serves comedic purpose.
Yes, it does.
But I don't understand why Wart would have purchased that sort of thing. Because what advantage would it have? It make it easier for him to go to the bathroom?
Maybe.
Why wouldn't he just lift up the cape?
Very good question.
But I don't. I know it's there just for the joke,
mm-hmm.
and it was definitely not in the original. Now Wart falling into the vegetable machine that is in the original,
really?
But he goes all the way in. He's not just stopped up in the top.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But other than that, I think that's pretty much all our likes and dislikes for this.
I think so.
What are you rating it?
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
I'd be like, I enjoyed the mess out of this little short, and I'm sad to see Short Sweet go, but then we're going into a new season.
Yes.
So yeah, highly recommend it. It's a little animation pixel goriness in some cases, but it's fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm also going to give it a 9, I think, because like we said, the animation is top notch in this, especially for Flash animation. I thought it was very well done. Music choices were excellent, very well timed. The fight scenes were good. because I also watched it right before you came over, just to make sure I
you
had
refresh.
refreshed myself on it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's not really a bad moment in this, other than the fact that Wart's got a hole in his cape for no good reason. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to give it a 9.
Alrighty.
Well, on this, what appears to be one of the shortest episodes of the Cel Cast we've ever done, we do actually still need to go into our thoughts on X-Men the Animated Series.
Yes, we
Next
do.
week, though, on the next episode,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be our 5th anniversary.
Woo!
So join us next week for that. But for now,
I am Magneto, master of Magnet.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically neurotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
our first episode of this that we're reviewing today, whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this, Slave Island, originally aired on March 6, 1993.
Mm-hmm.
Was directed by Larry Houston and written by Mark Edward Edens. In this episode, Storm, Gambit, and Jubilee discover that the island of Genosha is not the mutant haven it advertised it was.
No.
When they are forced into slave labor, they become torn between trying to escape, trying to lead a revolt, and just trying to survive. At the same time, a mysterious man appears with an agenda of his own, threatening everyone around him. That is the last sentence is the most generic thing I have ever read.
My name's Cable. I'm from the future.
A mysterious man with an agenda of his own threatens everyone. That's like the description of every movie. Sorry. Guest cast for this one. Barry Flatman returns as Henry Peter Gyrick. David Fox returns as the Sentinels and is also voicing Master Mold. And has one of my favorite lines.
I'm still plugged in.
Brett Halsley plays Bolivar Trask. Stephen Wamett plays Cameron Hodge. Lawrence Bain plays Cable. Robert Cates plays the Blob. And Dennis Akayama plays Sunfire. Trivia for this one. In the comics, Genosha is an island off the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean north of Madagascar. Here it appears to be in South America.
Interesting.
The phrase, knowledge is power, is an old aphorism with unknown origins. It is never stated in the series whether the Thunderbird in this episode is the original John Proudstar or his brother James. James later became Warpath. At the time of the series, he was using Thunderbird to honor the memory of his fallen brother. The DVD subtitles spell Moira's last name as MacTaggart, and that just says the same. Oh, MacTaggart instead of MacTaggart, with the A in the first one and an E in the last one. This was a common mistake for the comics, as it is generally considered an alternative spelling rather than a mistake. The flag of Genosha, as seen on the limo and factory, is a black bird on a red background. similar to the Nazi flag.
Yeah.
Once again, for those of you who've listened to Henshin Men know that's how you show how evil you are. You compare yourself to Nazis.
Very true.
It is more likely than not that the Hodge seen as an ambassador here is not the same Hodge who was Beast's lawyer in Enter Magneto. Beyond the physical differences, Cameron Hodge would likely not help any mutant in court, and it's highly unlikely that he would go from being a defense attorney to an ambassador in such a short period of time. It is likely coincidence or possibly the two are related. However, though both are voiced by Stephen Wamette. The card trick that Gambit plays on the guards is known as 52 card pickup. Several mutants appear in the episode that were part of Cable's team of X-Force, including Cable, Domino, Feral, Thunderbird / Warpath, Caliban, and Richter. Cable may be sarcastically referring to himself as one of the Wild Men of Borneo, a pair of twins who were exceptionally strong and traveled as part of a freak show. Storm has the power to throw a ball of concentrated lightning. When destroying the dam, she is able to command the weather to shoot a straight bolt of lightning instead of using the ball. 4 of the freed slaves are Mystique, Avalanche, Blob, and Pyro. They would later go on to form the Brotherhood of Mutants. One of the inspirations for Cable's voice was Clint Eastwood.
Makes sense.
After blowing up the limo, Cable stands over the driver like Eastwood's character did to the antagonist in Dirty Harry during the famous "Do I Feel Lucky" scene. Well, do you, punk? Cable reappears unharmed, and Hodge reappears with a vastly altered body, but Leader is never seen nor heard from again, apparently dying even though all were together when the flash flood hit. Despite ending on an obvious cliffhanger, it does not end with to be continued as the previous 2 episodes did.
No.
In Cold Vengeance, Aurora was captured in her civilian clothing while the others were in uniform. Yet all 3 are in uniform here. It is unknown why the Geonosians would change their clothes. The episode takes place not long after Cold Vengeance, yet the moon continues to be full in both episodes. This is an issue throughout the series as the moon is perpetually full. What caused the sudden overnight change of heart in Sunfire and the other slaves regarding the revolt? That's what I would like to know.
Right.
The phone number is long enough for a call inside the United States, but not long enough to reach Scotland from there. It is also missing the 44 country code for Scotland. When the slaves march just before Jubilee's revolt, Sunfire leads the line, but in the next shot, Northstar appears in front of him. In the following shot, Richter and Aurora appeared just before Caliban, behind Caliban. Let's skip ahead here. Of the non-X-Men slaves, only Sunfire is named. This is the first appearances of Mystique, Pyro, Richter, Blob, Feral, Avalanche, Caliban, Sunfire, Northstar, Aurora, and an unnamed bald gray mutant. Trask's first name of Bolivar is still not mentioned. This is the first mention of Mir Island. Gyrick mentions the Sentinel Mall attack from the first episode. This is the first appearance of Cable. However, it is never stated how he went from mercenary in this episode to time traveler in his later appearances. This is the only appearance of Leader. In this episode, Beast is neither seen nor mentioned.
Poor Beast.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
This, oh my gosh. Like, I've always liked Gambit as a character because he's not the anti-hero, but he's more be like, I'm gonna
the most 90s hero on
he's very much
we've
most
had
90s
on this so far.
Yes, I agree. Be like I'm loosely with the good guys, but you pay me enough, I might go to your side. Be like, I'll turn coats in a minute. But like, the story's good. I'd be like, there's a lot of animation errors where characters are flip-flopping positions, but like, Storm shows up in her civilian outfit while Gambit and Jubilee are walking around in the last episode in their uniforms, but then like all of a sudden Storm's in her outfit in this episode. Like, what the heck? And
I am fully convinced they had to have been making these episodes, like a lot of them at the same time. So a lot of things that were happening that were one team might have been working on, the other team may not have been aware of, and that's why we get things such as the last 2 episodes where we had the picture be entirely different between episodes.
That is true. That
or
is
in
so
this
true.
one, like you said, Storm's costume being different between episodes, even though it doesn't make any sense for it to. Granted, as kids, we would not have noticed.
No, we wouldn't have. But as adults, we're very aware of things.
Interesting note, this is the second character created by Rob Liefeld to show up in X-Men the Animated Series.
Oh, yeah, because he didn't create
He created Cable.
Yeah.
He also created Deadpool, who had one quick scene.
Yeah. And he never
a couple
showed...
episode ago. No,
Yeah.
he shows up apparently in one other episode.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it's still, it would still be his pre wisecracking version of him when he does show back up. But I don't, from what I understand, it's not a big part because he shows back up when they get into the Weapon X stuff.
Yeah. So like it's a good episode. I really don't know how to describe this episode. It's okay. It's decent. It's not like one of these like really deep stories, but like, yeah, Jubilee tries to do the revolt and it fails miserably. And just like things just fall into place with the story, and it's just like it's a good story, but it's just kind of like a meh kind of story.
Right.
Like Cable like you said, Cable showing up as a mercenary, and the next thing you know, he's a time traveler.
Yeah.
And obviously, like he's in his exporter's uniform. He's got that big X on him, but he's like, oh, I'm a mercenary. But you're an X-Men? Confusing.
Well, no, he's an X-Force, not an X-Man.
Well, X-Force, X-Man. I'm from the future.
All connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. Either or. It's an okay episode.
Yeah, this is not a great one.
No,
but
not.
We do get some more. This does continue on the Sentinel story that we have not seen since the first 2 episodes.
Yes, agree.
And it does introduce Master Mold, which is literally something that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I get that you have a machine that can mass produce Sentinels. That is not the problem. The problem is it can stand up and walk like a Sentinel. And like we said earlier, he does have my favorite line. I'm still plugged in. Like, of course you are.
You big tin can.
You could unplug yourself, but do you have a battery? There's a question.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
It was the 90s. Probably a giant Duracell.
Probably. And both feet.
Yes.
It might run for 20 minutes.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Duracell, that size, it would take about 30 D cells in each foot.
So interesting side note. So when you have younger brothers and you all have Game Boys, and all of a sudden you pick up your Game Boy and it's a little lighter, try to play it, doesn't plug in or nothing. And someone stole your batteries.
All 4 of them.
All 4 of them.
Because the original brick Game Boy had 4 double A's.
Yeah, and it might run for like an hour.
Which is still better than the Sega Game Gear, which used 6 double A's and worked for 15 minutes.
I've heard of that.
We are both exaggerating both of these times.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, this is a good episode, and I think we're ready to move on to the next one.
Yes. Unstoppable Juggernaut.
Yes, the Unstoppable Juggernaut. Directed by Larry Houston, written by Julianne Clem. In this episode, after the Xavier Mansion is destroyed, the X-Men search for the culprit and stumble upon 2 strong mutants. And I did not write when this episode aired. Hang on just a second.
This episode aired March 6th, 1993.
Thank you. I ran into some issues starting with this episode as starting with this episode, the primary source quit doing episodes. They only did up to Slave Island and then they stopped.
Okay.
They have all the rest of the episodes, but it's like when you go onto that wiki page and you can tell the page was made was made by template,
Yeah.
and no one's filled the template in yet.
Mm.
Every episode after this is like that on
Wow.
where I was using it.
Wow.
So yeah, I bear with me. I don't have as much trivia for these going forward. But for this one, we got Colossus and Juggernaut, both being played by Rick Bennett.
Really?
Mm-hmm. In this episode, Beast is seen reading the book Civil Disobedience by Henry Thoreau.
Makes sense.
When Wolverine attacks Colossus at the construction site, Colossus throws Wolverine into a pile of rubble. Wolverine comments that this guy's got a great arm, probably referencing the fastball special.
Yes.
A signature move from the comics in which Colossus throws Wolverine at the enemy at great speed.
Mm-hmm.
In this episode, cast regular Gambit does not appear.
Mm.
And
Shame.
A little bit of extra trivia about your co-hosts, Colossus was my favorite X-Man growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know. So what did you like Colossus so much?
He's big and made of metal and could kick Wolverine's butt in this episode.
That is true.
No, it's just I always liked Peter.
Yes.
He was always I just enjoyed his character probably a lot more than I liked a lot of the other characters. Probably not as much from this, because as a kid I did have like a young reader's novelization of Giant Size X-Men.
Okay.
Which was the comic that introduced Colossus, and it went into a little bit more depth in this character and how he joined and his thought process. And sure, as a kid, I knew nothing about the Ruskies.
Mm-hmm. The Ruskies.
So I kind of knew they were the bad guys in a lot of situations because cartoons. But this was a good guy. It's like, yeah, he's a good guy, but he's not bad guy. He's the kind of man that would crush sparrow eggs between his thighs. You didn't know I could do Zangief, did you?
That's a pretty good Zangief.
But that is kind of what this character is. He does very Zangief, except he's Colossus.
He's Colossus. Like, I did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong. I was just attacking this man who was stealing from the bank. You did it the wrong way there, Colossus.
Yeah, there again. No offense to our German listening audience there.
Or Russian, for that matter.
Russian. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, Russians. Sorry, my bad. Whoop.
We do not blame you for what your leader is doing to Ukraine. Moving on. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, besides being tongue-tied, I love this episode. It's we get this really significant point where they discover the X-Mansion's destroyed for some reason right now. We know that some big guy, Juggernaut, showed up.
Yes.
Destroyed it, looking for his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the X-Men trying to figure out where this guy is. And it turns into this really, really good fight between the X-Men and the Juggernaut with the help of Colossus. The point where I'd be like, it's good storytelling where you use Rogue the right way, where she uses her absorbing powers and it's overwhelming for her. And it's so well done. Like, I love it when they use story points, definitely with Rogue, or they really deep dive into a character's story. And I just found that really fast, because it wasn't just me like, oh, she absorbed his powers and she goes ballistic for a second. It like goes bananas.
Yes.
Like, it's interrupting with everything. And I really find that fascinating.
One thing that's interesting about this episode, since we are using the Juggernaut, is that this is the first time in X-Men the Animated Series that we realize there's more than just mutants out there who have powers.
Yeah.
Because Juggernaut's the first one who's not a mutant. X-Men 3 The Last Stand.
Oh my.
No, wait, he was in that one.
Yeah.
He was also in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
He wasn't a mutant then either, Deadpool. He's not a mutant. He's the brother of a mutant who used magic powers so he could kick his brother's wheelchair bound butt.
But if you go by what the cartoon does, be like, in some cases Charles can move his legs.
Apparently. I assume he's got some telekinesis over his body.
I would think.
He's just telekinesis is not one of his actual powers. That would be Jean Grey's powers.
Yes.
Because pseudoscience.
Yes. And then you'd be like, and you get again, probably one of my favorite characters between Jean Grey and Cyclops. You get Jean Grey and you get to use more of her powers.
Yes.
And there's more introductions to characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I love it when, because we're in episode 7 at this point.
Or 6.
Yeah.
Sentinels 1 and 2. Yeah, this is 6 or 7.
Episode 8.
Okay, I'll go with 8 because that makes sense.
Yeah, episode 8. So, yeah, it was just be like, because we were getting into the groove of like actually telling stories besides Storm and her claustrophobia.
Yes.
The entire for the last 3, like maybe like 5 episodes, we've seen her
and her incredibly changing skin color as a child.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. But either or, I love it when they're starting to develop characters more. We got a little more Wolverine, which I like, and then I know later on we get a lot more character development with other characters, and I just really love it when they start stepping into using characters' abilities,
right,
and start stepping into like character backgrounds and that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that.
Granted, up until this point, it's been more of a we've got to introduce and cement who these characters are as archetypes.
Yeah.
And now we're finally getting into here's why they are that way. It's just for some reason Storm's claustrophobia has come up more times than necessary.
4 episodes already.
In a row.
4 episodes.
It's like, we get it. You're claustrophobic. I mean, it did hammer in home when she got locked in the box in the last episode.
Yes.
It's like, oh, yeah, I bet this is hell for her. She's gonna go nuts. But anyway, this is a good, fun episode. Like, we get to one of my favorite characters, and another favorite character. Because let's face it, the Juggernaut is a cool villain.
Yeah,
and it's fun to see him in there, especially with his ties to
Xavier.
Charles.
Yes,
his brother.
Charles, come out and play. That's more Scottish than anything.
Yes, it was.
It was very Scottish. Either or.
I know we won't get the famous line in here because it doesn't appear officially till what, X-Men 3?
Yeah.
I think. But let's face it, he's the Juggernaut. No, I should do this better. He's the Juggernaut. Thank you for censoring me there, Deedler. This is a family-friendly show. Anyway, you got anything else to add before we do this?
There again, I do like. I do like they brought in Colossus. I don't know if he shows up again. I know that
Colossus does come back later on, but he's gone for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, he'll show back up sometime in like the 2nd season. I think. I would have to go look, but at this point, I'm just going to wait till he shows back up. And I go, oh, looky, it's Colossus, my favorite man in this. my favorite X-Man. I'm just curious, who was yours growing up?
Mine was always a toss-up between Cyclops and Jean Grey.
That's fair. That's very fair. I like them too. I like Jean Grey once we find out that she's Phoenix.
Right.
Because I remember watching this show originally and going, oh yeah, everyone else gets the cool nicknames in their title cards, but you just get to be Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Who are you? Why do I care? Why does your costume go all the way up to your hairline?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're telekinetic. Great. You're just Xavier's little protege.
Either or.
I said protege.
Yes.
I didn't say anything worse than that. Cyclops would not be happy if there was worse than that.
Yes.
But
thanks, comics.
But then you get later on and, you get the whole Phoenix saga and you're going, oh, she's actually a good cool character. Okay. Then you get older and you find out the actual character histories and go, oh, she was created so Marvel could copyright the name Marvel Girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The reason she was created, by the way.
Exactly.
Because they were already in fights with DC over Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Go look up Comic Drake episode on Captain Marvel, on the name Captain Marvel. That is an interesting history of those of Shazam and Captain Marvel.
Yes.
But besides the point, I think that's going to be the end of this episode for us.
So.
Like we said, next week we are doing our big anniversary episode, which means we're not reviewing X-Men the Animated Series next one, because it's just going to be a regular episode.
Yes.
But join us next week for that. In the meantime, this is Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Yoshi.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cel Cast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cel Cast Gaming. On YouTube at Cel Cast. On Twitter at cast_cel. The Cel Cast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecelcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cel Cast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cel, with a single L.
My dear King Wart, are you aware of the ancient Koopa proverb that revenge is a dish best served with vegetables? There are many vegetables in Subcon.
Yoshi.